The following series is based on real events. Some details have been changed for privacy, but the story you're about to hear is true. This is Shattered Justice. I was already on the phone with the 911 operator when everything happened. I kept telling her someone was shot at my house. My daughter's father was shot, but she didn't seem to understand me. She kept asking the same question over and over.
Did someone get shot? Did someone get shot?
Every time she repeated it, I said it again, louder, more desperate, until my voice finally cracked. I didn't even realize I was crying until I heard myself struggling to get the words out. It wasn't until after all of that she told me to check for a pulse. I knelt beside him and touched his neck. His skin felt cool, clammy, sweaty all at once. There was a pulse, faint, barely there, but it was there. I told her what I felt. Then I backed away from his body, still holding the phone, still trying to make her understand. I walked back inside while the line stayed open. The operator was still talking as shock started to settle in. Like this wasn't my life. Everything felt like it was in slow motion, like a movie. I never hung up. I was still holding the phone when he said he felt faint. Inside the house, Jeremiah and I both dropped to the floor at the same time. It wasn't planned. It wasn't dramatic. It was our bodies reacting before our minds could catch up. We held on to each other, shaken, trying to breathe through something we couldn't understand. Jeremiah leaned against me, saying he felt lightheaded, like he might pass out. His skin felt cold. His voice sounded thin, distant. Shock takes over quietly. It makes the world blurry and slow at the same time. We moved to the couch together, sitting in a kind of frozen silence, waiting, listening. Every minute felt like 5. The sirens took too long. Far too long for something this serious. Every second stretched out like an hour. When the ambulance finally arrived about 25 minutes after the shooting, it felt unreal. Police pulled up right behind them, filling the quiet outside with flashing red and blue. And suddenly everything moved fast again. When the officers came in, they asked who else was in the house. I gave them the names and ages. When I said Jamal's date of birth out loud, it hit me. He was only 38, younger than he looked, younger than it felt in that moment. My son crept upstairs a few times, wide-eyed, confused, scared. I kept sending him back down because no child should ever see any of this. I wasn't even fully processing what I saw, but I knew I had to protect him from it. I showed the detective the screenshot I took from the Ring camera, the one from the earlier knock, the one that captured his rage, the one that captured his threats. After they gathered the basics, the detectives separated us. Jeremiah stayed in the living room, and I heard him tell an officer he wasn't giving a statement. A part of me wondered why I didn't do the same. The detective questioned me about everything, how many times Jamal came that day, what he said, what he did, whether anything like this had ever happened before. That's when I told him about 2012. When Jamal keyed my car in New York, the first time he crossed the line. Shock has its own kind of silence. You move, you answer questions, you hand over your phone, your memory, your night, but your mind stays frozen in the moment where everything's split. When they asked for a written statement, I sat at the kitchen table and forced my hand to move. I wrote about the fight, the gunshot, checking his pulse. I even wrote about the male enhancement oil he left in my daughter's bag. But I didn't mention the papers. I couldn't, not yet. The next morning, the house felt unusually quiet, heavy, still. We called the hospitals, hoping anyone would tell us if Jamal survived. No one did. Then we listened to the voicemail from the coroner. She had my number listed as next of kin instead of his wife. Hearing her voice made my stomach drop. It was the confirmation I didn't want, but I already knew. Later that day, I went into the kitchen to pray. My ears grew hot, like they were burning. And then I heard it steady, calm, not my voice.
Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay. Everything is going to be okay.
3 times. The same tone. It didn't erase the pain, but it held me together. Monday morning, I tried to go to work. It lasted minutes. My breath felt tight. My chest felt heavy. Every sound made my anxiety spike. I couldn't pretend I was okay. I applied for FMLA that same day and I never went back. The neighbors told us things we didn't know, that Jamal had been pacing the street earlier, punching his fist into his hand, angry, that his car had been parked at the church that looks directly down the street towards our house for hours, that someone even approached him to ask if everything was okay. Nothing about that night was random. Around that same time, the detective called, and the way my stomach dropped, I knew this wasn't just a follow-up, this was something else, something heavier. Another shift, and that's exactly where everything began to change.